Listen to me now. Everybody wants to win. You see somebody on TV living large, driving a fancy car, and you think, man, they got it made. You see a superstar athlete holding up a trophy and you think, they must have been born with it. But let me tell you something straight from the heart. Winning isn't about being born lucky. It's not about having everything handed to you on a silver platter. Winning comes from a fire deep down in your belly. It's a fire that refuses to go out even when the world is throwing buckets of water on it. It's that little voice inside that whispers, get up, when every single part of your body wants to stay down for the count. I know what it's like to feel like the odds are stacked against you. I really do. I've been there. I've been counted out more times than I can remember. People look at you and they only see where you are right now. They don't see the vision you have for yourself. They don't see the dream that wakes you up in the middle of the night. But that vision, that dream, that's your fuel. That's what separates the folks who almost make it from the ones who actually get there. It's not about how many times you get knocked down. Everybody gets knocked down. The real question is, how many times are you willing to get back up and keep fighting? Let's get one thing straight right now. There is no such thing as an overnight success. That is a myth. It's a fairy tale they sell you on social media and in the movies. You see the highlight reel, but you don't see the behind-the-scenes footage. You don't see the years of struggle. You don't see the sleepless nights. You don't see the empty bank accounts. You don't see the doors slammed in their faces. You see the victory, but you miss the whole war that was fought to get there. When you see a big, beautiful oak tree, do you think it just popped up out of the ground last Tuesday? You know that tree started as a tiny little acorn. It had to survive drought storms and freezing winters. It had to push its roots deep into the ground, searching for water, fighting for its place. For years, it was just a little sapling that nobody even noticed. That's what your journey is like. You are planting your seed right now. You are doing the work in the dark, where nobody sees you, where nobody is clapping for you. I want to tell you about a man you all know. A man with a white suit, a string tie, and a friendly smile. Colonel Sanders. Now when you think of KFC, you think of a global empire, billions of dollars, chicken in every country you can think of. But do you know the Colonel's real story? This man didn't become a success story when he was a young buck. He wasn't some 25-year-old whiz kid. No sir. Harlan Sanders was in his 60s when he started franchising his chicken recipe. He was collecting his first Social Security check, just over $100, when he decided he wasn't done yet. Imagine that for a minute. You're at an age when most people are thinking about retirement, about slowing down, but the Colonel had a dream in his heart and a recipe in his hands. He believed in his chicken. He knew it was special. So he got in his old beat-up car and started driving across the country. He would go to restaurant owners, cook his chicken for them, and ask them to put it on their menu in exchange for a few pennies on each piece sold. He wasn't asking for a handout. He was offering a partnership built on the quality of his work. He had a vision that was bigger than his current circumstances. Now, do you think every restaurant owner said yes? Heck no. He was told no, over and over again. Can you imagine the courage that takes? To get rejected, get back in your car, drive to the next town, and do it all over again with that same fire and belief. The stories say he was rejected over 1,000 times, 1,000 no's. How many of us would have quit after 10? After 5? After the first one? But the Colonel understood something powerful. He knew that every no just brought him one step closer to a yes. He wasn't focused on the rejection, he was focused on the mission. That's the lesson right there. The number of times you fail is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The only number that matters is the number of times you get back up. The Colonel didn't have a fancy business plan. He didn't have a team of marketing experts. He had a good product and he had a belief in himself that was bulletproof. He refused to let his age, his financial situation, or 1,000 rejections define his future. He kept knocking on doors until the right ones opened. Your breakthrough could be waiting for you right after your next no. You just have to be willing to keep knocking. Let's talk about another fella, a guy named Thomas Edison. We all know him as the genius who invented the light bulb. He lit up the world, but the story isn't that simple. It wasn't like he just woke up one day, scribbled a drawing on a napkin, and boom, there was light. The man was a grinder. He was a master of failure. When a reporter asked him how it felt to fail so many times trying to invent the light bulb, his answer was pure gold. I have not failed 10,000 times. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Championship mindset. Think about the power of that statement. He didn't see his attempts as failures, he saw them as lessons. Each time a filament burned out too quickly, he didn't throw his hands up and quit. He studied why it burned out. He learned something new. He was gathering data. He was eliminating possibilities. He was getting smarter with every single mistake. Most people are so afraid of failing that they never even start. But Edison embraced failure as a necessary part of the process. He understood that you have to walk through the darkness to figure out how to create the light. He knew that success was on the other side of all those experiments. This is where you have to change your thinking. Failure is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It is your coach. Every time you try something and it doesn't work out, you have a choice. You can say, well, I guess I'm a failure, and you can go sit on the pity pot. Or you can ask yourself, what did I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? That's the winner's mentality. Alright, let's talk about the most powerful tool you have. It's not your money, it's not your connections, it's not your good looks. The most powerful tool you have in your entire arsenal is the 6 inches of real estate between your ears. Your mindset. Your mindset is the steering wheel of your life. It determines the direction you go. You can have a brand new car with a full tank of gas, but if you're steering it toward a ditch, that's exactly where you're going to end up. Your life works the same way. If your mind is full of negativity, doubt, and fear, you will steer yourself right into a life of disappointment. You have to be the guardian of your own mind. You have to stand at the gate and decide what you allow in. There's so much negativity out there in the world. On the news, on social media, from the people closest to us sometimes. They tell you all the reasons why your dream is impossible. They remind you of all your past failures. If you let all that garbage in, it will poison your spirit. Life has a funny way of messing up your plans, doesn't it? You get your map all laid out. You know exactly where you're going. You've got the straightest, fastest route picked out. And then bam! Roadblock, construction. A bridge is out. All of a sudden, you're forced to take a detour. You're driving down some back road you've never seen before, and you're thinking, man, this is taking forever. I'm so far off track. Most people get frustrated on the detour. They get angry. They feel like they've lost. But what if I told you that the detour is part of the map? What if the lesson you needed to learn was on that back road? What if the person you needed to meet lived on that side street? What if the strength you needed to build could only be found by navigating that rough, unpaved path? See, we get so focused on our destination that we forget that the journey is where the growth happens. Sometimes God has to force you onto a detour because He knows there's something you need to pick up along the way. Something you would have missed if you had stayed on the easy, straight highway. It might be a new skill. It might be a new perspective. It might be a new level of toughness. Think about all the people who found their true calling only after getting fired from a job they thought they wanted. That failure of getting fired was actually a detour that led them to their purpose. Let's be real for a second. Nobody likes to hear the word no. It stings. It feels like a rejection of you personally. No, you didn't get the job. No, we're not interested in your idea. No, I don't believe you can do it. That 2-letter word can feel like a punch to the gut. And that right there is the test. You will hear no. I guarantee it. The real test is what you do right after. Do you let it shut you down, or do you let it fire you up? Winners have a different way of processing the word no. They don't hear no as never. They hear it as not right now. They hear it as not this way. They see no not as a period, but as a comma. It's just a pause. It's a signal to pivot. It's a signal to adjust. For a winner, the word no doesn't mean stop. It means next opportunity. N-O, next opportunity. You have to burn that into your brain. The power to change your life is not out there somewhere. It's right here. It's in your heart. It's in your mind. It's in your own 2 hands. We've talked a lot today. We've talked about fire, we've talked about failure, we've talked about mindsets, we've talked about detours. But all the talking in the world doesn't mean a thing if you don't do something with it. All the motivation, all the inspiration, it's useless if it doesn't lead to action. The difference between a dreamer and a winner is that a winner wakes up and goes to work. A winner decides that today is the day, not tomorrow, not next week, not when things are perfect, today, right now. Your winning season doesn't start when you get the trophy. It starts the moment you decide to get back in the game. Think about your past failures. The times you quit, forgive yourself. Let it go. That was your training season. All those losses, all those mistakes, they were preparing you for this moment. What is the one step you can take today? Just do one thing. You are no longer a spectator in your own life. You are a player. Now go on. Your winning season starts now. Go get what's yours.